Hey everyone, welcome to today's Feathr webinar. We're going to be talking all about some winning strategies that nonprofits can use to stay ahead in 2025. But before we get into it, I just want to give everyone a couple minutes to sort of trickle in. So in the meantime, if you want to drop in either where you're joining from today or one marketing tactic that you are currently working on. So sort of what's top of mind for you as you're joining this webinar today. Anyone who just joined, just dropped a couple questions in the chat to kind of get the conversation going. So let me know where you're joining from. And then if you have something that's top of mind that you're trying out in your marketing this year or currently, or that you're hoping to try out, yeah, drop it in. I want to hear some ideas of what you guys are up to. Yes, Shalini, we will be sending out the presentation and the recording after. So you can look out for that in your email inbox tomorrow morning. Cool. We got some California people. Okay, welcoming people to sign up to your email lists. Cool. Let's see here. Nice. We got Texas, Illinois, Canada. Hey there. Okay, donor cultivation. Cool. Yeah, that's a topic that I've been sort of hearing a lot about and wanting to get into more, just sort of how to build, recurring donors, build that trust and those relationships with donors over time. So that's a topic that we're definitely going to be getting into more this year on these webinars, because I know there's a lot of appetite for that, especially with some of the current, events that are happening for nonprofits, which I'll get into briefly in a minute. Okay, conversions are meeting our set budgets. Cool. Yep, gotta stay under budget. How is social media landscape changing? Okay, yep. Not sure if that's a question or like a focus area for you, but that is definitely a big one. We actually hosted a webinar 2 weeks ago on the state of social giving with Classy. So it was a partnered webinar where they talked all about how giving and how donor behaviors have changed on social media and how social media impacts donor behaviors. And so that's a really good one if you want to check out that recording, which is on our webinars page on our website. Rachel, if you have a sec, if you want to just drop in our events page into the chat, just so that people can go there after if they want to kind of browse through recordings of previous webinars, because the one 2 weeks ago, like I said, with Classy is great for social media and donor behavior. And then there's lots of other good stuff on there. Email and text messaging, yeah, SMS is a huge one for building those donor relationships and kind of staying on people's radar across multiple mediums, because we always have our phones with us. Cool. Yeah, this is great stuff, guys. Thanks for dropping this in. Feel free to keep dropping in comments. If for anyone who's just joined in the last minute or so, yeah, just let us know where you're joining from. And, if there's something that you're working on right now that's top of mind, or a particular reason why you're joining today and what you're hoping to learn. So feel free to keep dropping stuff in the chat. Thanks, Rachel. She just dropped to the events page, so you all can visit that if you want to see our past webinar recordings, as well as upcoming events that Feathr will be at in person. So yeah, we're always out and about in the world attending events. So if you're going to be attending any events in the near future, check out that page to see where we're at, because we'd love to see you there. Alrighty, let's dive in. Toronto Humane Society, awesome. Cool. Actually, Jessica, I want to talk to you. I think I talked to one of I think your CSM or your services person, and they said that you are a great Feathr user and having some really good results. So I'd love to connect with you and hear more about that. So quick intro, I'm Isa Hasty. I'm the Senior Content Marketing Manager at Feathr. And yep, this is my email here. Like I said, I'll be sending out the deck after, so you can always reach out to me if you have any questions or have any topics that you'd like me to cover. Would love to hear from you. And then Feathr, so Feathr is trusted by more than 1,500 nonprofits. We serve a variety of different sectors. So, human and child services orgs. We serve a lot of animal rescue organizations like Toronto Humane Society and others. And health-related nonprofits, member-based organizations like associations, arts and culture organizations, so museums, orchestras, all that good stuff, theaters. So kind of run the gamut in terms of types of nonprofits that we serve. And basically, in a nutshell, what Feathr does is we help nonprofits grow. So, whatever that means for you. So, we offer tools that help automate your digital touch points across email, digital advertising, social media, even print. Kind of giving you one easy place to launch and track all of your campaigns, see what's working, what's not, track conversions, sort of all in the same language. So you can really see what's, doing the heavy lifting for you. And just a couple of examples of some organizations that we serve that have seen great results and have seen growth. So this is the YMCA of Metropolitan Fort Worth. I'll be showing a few examples of their campaigns later on. So they were able to bring in 163,000 potential donors and program participants through digital ads using Feathr. So they were just looking to build awareness, get in front of new eyeballs, and they were able to do that with digital ads, very targeted digital ads. And then the Society of American Military Engineers, so this is a member-based, association. They were able to drive up attendance to an event using digital ads and Feathr. So for a lot of organizations, growth means bigger events, event marketing and getting more people to sign up and attend your annual meeting, your fundraiser, whatever that big event is for you, or maybe you have multiple. Feathr can help you get in front of new people, previous attendees, members, all that good stuff, to make sure that people are showing up and buying those tickets. Palmetto Community Care, I love this organization. They were able to sell almost 1,000 additional tickets using Feathr to their annual fundraiser called Charleston Beer Fest. And then Christian Relief Fund, they just this past year end brought in $107,000 in donations through email marketing and digital advertising and some social media advertising in Feathr. So growth can mean lots of different things. It might mean bringing in more revenue, it might mean diversifying your revenue streams, maximizing event turnout, anything like that. So we aim to help you grow in whatever way makes sense for you. And I want to mention this. So, I want to briefly touch on some of the recent events that are happening in our industry, since I'm sure it's top of mind for a lot of people on here today. So, as a lot of you know, Elon Musk has made some very disparaging comments about the nonprofit sector recently. And, of course, this type of rhetoric can be really harmful and undermine the vital, important work that you and your organization are doing every single day. So Feathr has always supported and advocated for nonprofits. That's our mission, and that's what we do. We provide tools to help you succeed. But beyond that, we, want you to know that we're here for you. We're here for your organization. We're committed to helping you grow and expand your impact, and not just through outreach tools and platform, but through resources and strategies and just general support. And so one of the ways that we provide these resources and support is through our weekly newsletter. It's called the Good Marketing Brief. I'm sure a lot of you on here might already be subscribed, but I'm going to have Rachel launch a quick poll to see who would like us to just sign you up. We can go ahead and subscribe you so you don't have to go through and click through a bunch of pages. So hopefully you can see that poll right there. So yeah, let us know if you'd like us to sign you up and we will do that. We send it out every Wednesday morning. It's got tons of templates, inspiration from other nonprofits, so you can kind of see what other people are doing. And yeah, just get information about upcoming events, industry updates, industry news, things like that. But it's meant to be sort of a combination of like industry updates and then tactical, practical advice and templates that you can kind of take and run with that week, and try something new. So yeah, we've already got 8,873 subscribers. So definitely join. I'm seeing a lot of people saying yes, and I'm seeing a lot of people who are already subscribers. So love to see it. So yeah, keep dropping those in, and I'm going to move this here. Okay, cool. All right. But yeah, all of that to say, we're here to support you. Feathr's here for whatever you need. We want to provide you with, a platform and tools that can be helpful in your outreach, but also just we want to be, a voice to support you in the sector and also yeah, just here for emotional support and anything that you might need during these times because it's crazy, crazy times. Okay, so before we get into the 9 tactics, I wanted to kind of start with this sort of just quick preface. So, like we just talked about, the nonprofit sector is really going through it right now between federal funding uncertainty and then these damaging accusations from powerful people, and then just the regular day-to-day, challenges that have always been there, and now they're, I'm sure, heightened for a lot of you. So, in weird times like these, kind of similar to 2020 with the pandemic, right? Marketing and outreach budgets are often cut or, deprioritized before other things. But marketing, and especially well-executed digital marketing, can be the thing that really helps you diversify your revenue streams, diversify your audience, and build stronger relationships with individual donors. So I want to show real quick this graph. So this is kind of a little sneak peek into some of the results we got back, some of the data points we gathered from our State of Nonprofit Marketing Survey, which we ran in February. Some of you might have filled that out as well. And we're going to be releasing the full report in April, so keep an eye out for that. But I just wanted to point out, as you can see here, almost 36% of nonprofits that responded. Hopefully you can see this. I feel like there's a little bar blocking the top, but let me zoom in a little. Oops. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see this up here because on my screen it's blocked, but these two slices of the pie chart are government funding and grants. And so almost 36% listed these as their primary source of funding. And so, as like it'll be hard to fully shift away from this if this is sort of how you've been operating, but it's still critical to look at other sources of funding that you can turn to. So, individual donors, which this is this slice here. So, a lot of nonprofits are sort of relying on individual donors as their primary source of income, but a lot are not. And so, individual donors are going to be a huge source of sustainability for your organization. Recurring donors, so sort of building that trust, building those monthly recurring donors or annual recurring donors. Monthly can work really well for younger audiences as opposed to annual because they might not be as inclined to give a huge amount at the end of the year, might be more inclined to give $5 or $10 a month. So play around with that, but developing those recurring donor relationships can make a huge difference for just building a reliable stream of income for your organization. Because yeah, we will all need sort of that safety net in the coming years, especially with the tumultuous nature of what's happening now. So leaning into new channels, new strategies to kind of reach out to new individual donors and build up that stream of revenue. That can be vital. All right, let's get into the 9 tactics that we're going to talk about today. So retargeting ads, serving retargeting ads to your cart abandoner. So this is a big one. You're probably familiar with, donation abandonment emails. So somebody comes to your donate page, doesn't make a donation, leaves, and then you might automate an email to go to them if you have their email address that tells them, hey, come back. We saw that you wanted to make a donation. Please complete your donation, kind of reminding them of what it means to contribute to your organization. So a lot of the time, these might be new people. You might not have their email address if they haven't donated before. And so you want to still be able to retarget those people and kind of serve them a cart abandonment style communication. And you can do that with retargeting ads. So you do not have to have their email to do this. So anyone who comes to a page on your website, you can then serve them ads as they browse other websites, and remind them to come back and complete their donation. So as many of you know, most people are not going to convert on their first visit. So it takes about 7 to 12 touch points to actually get someone to become a donor or supporter. That's much higher than reconverting a lapsed supporter. So like I said, those sort of monthly recurring donors where you have built a relationship over time with someone who continues to donate, those are going to be the best sort of low-hanging fruit, because getting a new person to learn about your organization, click through to your site, and then come back enough times to make that decision to actually donate. That does happen all the time, but it is harder and it takes more touch points. So you want to make sure that you're investing in that and creating those touch points for those new people, but also remember to balance that with a donor retention strategy that really works for you. And then, a couple more points about this. You can get very targeted with retargeting campaigns. And so they can convert, at higher rates and just be more cost effective than, for example, print campaigns or mail campaigns. And you can see more directly where the conversions are coming from. So you can really track the effectiveness of these campaigns, and you can put just a little bit of budget behind a retargeting campaign, start there with just a few $100s and kind of grow from there. So it's probably a lot less than whatever you're spending on direct mail if you are using direct mail, and it can just be a really powerful tool for staying on people's radar across different platforms wherever they are. So just a couple of examples. Let me just quickly exit out of this thing because I feel like it's blocking. Okay, hopefully you all can see. Um, And so, yeah, I just want to give a couple of examples of retargeting campaigns for registration dropout and donation dropout. So this is from the YMCA of Metropolitan Fort Worth, so one of the organizations I talked about earlier on. This was a registration dropout campaign that they ran for programs. So they were targeting people with after-school programs. And so anyone who came to one of those after-school pages and did not sign their kid up, they then received these ads across the web. So they would come to the page, maybe browse it, maybe look at a couple other pages on the site, but not actually, sign up and convert. And so then they would continue to see ads drawing them back in. And then this example is from Quad City Symphony Orchestra. So this is another really great Feathr user. She's really good at, using data to inform her campaigns. And so she leverages a lot of past campaign data to reach people who are most likely to convert. And so this was a promo for the Harry Potter 6 concert that they ran a couple of years ago, as you can see in November of 2023. So I like these ads just because I think they do a great job. They're compelling and pretty, very on theme with Harry Potter. They drive urgency. So, reminding people that it's this Saturday. So anyone who might have come to the event registration page leading up to the event, maybe it was through an email that they received, or maybe it was through, a geofencing campaign that they ran to reach a new person. That new person came through to the page, checked it out, but did not register for the event. They would then see ads like this saying, hey, it's actually this Saturday. Come on and complete your purchase. And so these are really great examples of those sort of cart abandonment ads, getting people to come back and make the conversion. And then, yeah, she's great. So she ran this user ran, they hosted this event, and then they did a Nightmare Before Christmas show later on that year in October. Or I guess it was in December, I think. And she used a lot of the data from this campaign. So people who attended the Harry Potter 6 concert, she then targeted them with promo for the Nightmare Before Christmas concert, because she figured there'd be overlap in interest there. A lot of millennials in the mix. And so she leveraged that data to make sure that she was reaching people who actually would be interested in converting. So, and then one last example here. So this is the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. So this is another great Feathr user. They, for anyone who visited this donate page here but didn't give, they then received ads like this across the web. So they were retargeted with these ads, sort of reminding them of the impact that their donation could have. And with the donate button, that would then lead back to this page. One quick point about this sort of conversion flow when you're running ads that lead to a donate page, and then someone hits the donate page and then sees another ad later if they don't convert. You want to be sure that there's consistency, like in terms of the copy and the design. And one thing that is worth, paying close attention to is a lot of the time, I don't think that they have this here, but a lot of the time you might set like a default amount. There's a few here, but there's, sometimes there's a default amount already selected on a donate page. Always be sure that that matches whatever amount you asked for on the ads, right? So if you are, reaching a new audience with ads asking them to donate $10, make sure that when they get to that donate page, it's asking for $10 by default, not 100 or 50 or something like that. So just always pay attention to your conversion flows. I recommend just actually going through them yourself. Maybe have even a friend, a younger person, kind of like go through your conversion process, look at your donate page, and then get retargeted with your ads, and then sort of see what that looks like and how easy that process is. Make sure everything's mobile friendly. So those are just some general tips, but they can make a huge difference in conversions. All right. Let's talk about CRM retargeting to engage people who have donated before or attended an event before, but you haven't heard from them in a while. So this is called CRM retargeting. In Feathr, we call it email mapping. No emails are sent as part of this campaign. It's just email is in the name, but don't get it confused. This is basically just using the email as a unique identifier to reach people with ads. And so anyone whose email you have, so you can upload email lists from an event that you hosted or past donors, past members, things like that, lapsed members, you can upload an email list to Feathr and then target those people with ads, with display ads across the web, just like you would with a geofencing campaign or an affinity campaign or retargeting. You're showing them display ads on the websites that they're browsing, on social media, things like that. And so this is a really cool way to re-engage people who, have shown interest in your organization in the past, but maybe haven't engaged in a while, attended an event in the past, but maybe haven't, donated, and you want to get them to donate to an end of year campaign or, a summer campaign that you have coming up. You can do that by targeting them with ads, and you can also email them, of course, if that's appropriate. But this is a great way sometimes to get unsubscribers back into the fold. If someone's unsubscribed from your newsletter or email list, you don't want to be emailing them because they asked not to be emailed. But if they were interested in your cause at some point, they might still be interested again in donating. Maybe they didn't want to have email inbox clutter, but they still care about your cause. So showing them some ads, in sort of blending in as they're browsing the web can be a really great way to get back on their radar without sort of violating their preferences. And then a few examples here. Oh, am I zoomed? I'm zoomed in. Hopefully that wasn't causing any issues for visibility. Okay. So a couple of examples of CRM retargeting from some Feathr users, just to show some sort of real life examples here. This is the Columbus Museum of Art in Ohio. They ran a CRM retargeting campaign targeting these lists. So they were hosting a Valentine's Day event this past year in 2024, and they wanted to get people who had engaged with their content and with their events before to potentially attend the event. And so they targeted members, so current members, they targeted attendees to the previous year's event, so the Valentine's Day event in 2023. Art Bites is their newsletter, so subscribers to that newsletter were also included in this campaign. And then Wonderball is their big annual fundraiser. And so they also targeted people who attended Wonderball. And so this was a chunk of people that were all receiving ads that looked like this. So they're again seeing these, wherever they're browsing the web, they're seeing ads like this because they had previously opted into something or attended something or given an email address. And so they probably were also receiving emails inviting them to this Valentine's Day event. But, if for some reason an email wasn't appropriate or, they wanted to just supplement the emails with something else, they were able to serve these ads to people. And also, seeing ads like this is different than receiving an email. You can do different things with the design and the copy and the CTA of an ad. And sometimes people, are just going to miss your emails, but they might see the ad and respond to that. So it's always good to sort of diversify your channels, be reaching people across multiple mediums, and yeah, stay on the radar that way. Okay, and then again, the YMCA of Metropolitan Fort Worth, love them, obviously. So they ran this CRM retargeting campaign targeting current members and previous donors. So they were just running a fundraising campaign to, drive some funds for this branch. And so they targeted all current members. So those are people who obviously are coming to the Y, engaging with them in some way, have a vested interest in potentially contributing to their community's YMCA branch, and then previous donors. So these people had donated before, might be likely to donate again. So they include both of those lists. So again, uploaded those email lists, all current members, previous donors. They uploaded those email lists to Feathr, and then they were able to serve these ads around the web as people browse different websites. And they were seeing these, clicking through, making that donation. Okay, geofencing. So geofencing the places where your donors live, work, play, exist. This is a great way to kind of capture people where they are, and you can get very intentional about who you're reaching. So this is an example. So you can see this is a sort of a screenshot from Feathr. This is an example of the heat map that you can see. Gainesville is where Feathr's headquarters are. That's where I am right now. And this example is from a campaign run by Grace Marketplace. So this is a Gainesville-based homeless services shelter. They're an amazing organization, and they do a lot of campaigns in Feathr to reach people to drive donations. And so this geofencing campaign, you can actually see that it's called the campaign is called High Income Neighborhoods in Gainesville. And so they are really trying to hone in on neighborhoods where people are going to have more money to give. And Grace has a lot of, it's sort of a household name in Gainesville. So I think a lot of people know about it. They host a lot of events and they do a lot of great stuff in the community. So people know about Grace. And so just sort of really, yeah, focusing in on the groups of people that are going to be most likely to have disposable income to give larger amounts. And then they do stuff outside of just high income neighborhoods, but I think that's a great example of what you can do with geofencing. So here's an example of one of their ads. So someone in one of those wealthier neighborhoods might then be scrolling on their phone, playing a game on their phone, reading something, and then they'll see this ad to go ahead and donate to Grace. And then, if they click on that ad and they don't donate, they'll continue to see targeted ads encouraging them to come back, learn more, make a donation, volunteer, things like that. So there's a lot you can do with geofencing. And then actually, if you guys want to drop in the chat, if any of you have any cool ideas for, if any of you use geofencing, if there are any places you've geofenced that work for you. I know people get really creative with this one. I'm going to get into a few examples in a minute, but I'm curious if there's anything that's worked really well for any of you on here. And so just a couple of other examples of geofencing campaigns that have seen great results. So Playhouse on the Square, this is a Memphis-based community theater, and they geofence other local theaters with audiences that might be interested in their show. So here are a couple of examples of their ads. And when I was speaking to that customer, he was like, it's kind of weird sometimes when you're, geofencing other, like basically your peers, but we called it sharing the love, So it's like if you have a theater across the street and there's an overlap in audience there, like why not invite them to your shows and yeah, put something in front of them that they might be interested in. So definitely, you can think about other ways that you can sort of geofence areas that might have similar audiences to you, or like events, competitor events, things like that. That can be a great way to get in front of the right audience for your cause or your event. And just call it sharing the love. And then you won't feel like you're, doing anything too crazy. Okay, and then the food bank for Central and Northeast Missouri. I love this example because this is not sort of a typical marketing or outreach geofencing example. They actually geofenced their own central pantry. So this happened in early 2024, and they were opening a new pantry, a new huge pantry in the area, and they wanted to let neighbors know, so beneficiaries of their services, that they were going to have this new pantry. And so they actually geofenced their own central pantry with ads, so that people who were at that pantry were seeing ads on their phone saying, hey, this new pantry is opening on this date. It'll be in this area. This is what's available to you there. So I think, keep in mind that geofencing and a lot of these campaigns can be used for more than just driving donations or event ticket purchases. So you can, communicate with volunteers, you can communicate with beneficiaries, you can recruit new staff. There's lots of ways to reach out to different groups of people using digital advertising. And then just a few geofencing ideas, so kind of getting creative. Like I said before, high income areas are a huge one if you're looking for those sort of big ticket major donors. So a lot of organizations will geofence country clubs, yacht clubs, golf courses, things like that. Expensive neighborhoods like we just saw, churches and places of worship. So a lot of the time people who attend church are more likely to engage in, benevolent behavior and be making donations and things like this, very charity oriented. And so this can be a good sort of place to target with ads about your cause if it's relevant to, the denomination. Festivals, concerts, sporting events. So these can be, if you are hosting a festival or something like that, you might target other ones to kind of get similar audience members engaged with your events. And just in general, I think events like this, people are likely to have some disposable income, some money to spend, so they might have some money that they're willing to donate. University campuses can be a great one. So if you're looking to get in front of younger members, so if you're a member-based organization and you're looking for that next generation, university campuses, career fairs, things like that can be a great place to geofence. Also, if you are, a donation-based organization and you're looking to get your cause in front of younger people, this is also an option for you. So geofencing schools, colleges, campuses, things like that. And keep in mind that, a lot of the time, the young people won't convert into donors right away, but they can do a lot in terms of spreading awareness, sharing things on social. So awareness of your cause is the first step to gaining support from younger people. So even if you're not getting a ton of donations coming through, putting your organization on people's radars in places like this is key for sustainability. And then other nonprofit fundraisers. So this can be a great thing. And another thing I see a lot is, geofencing your own events. So there's also something called historical geofencing in Feathr, which allows you to geofence a place where people were in the past. So if you hosted a show or an event 2 months ago and you want to reach those people who attended at that time with ads now, you can do that, promoting, an upcoming show or an upcoming event that might be relevant for them based on their attendance to that one. So there's really a lot you can do here, get very creative. You can geofence basically any place, but it's really cool how specific you can get in terms of the types of people that you're trying to reach. Okay, let's get into affinity targeting. So this is another one where you can get highly, highly targeted. So you can promote your work to thousands of new people. Feathr leverages demographic, industry, and buyer data to give you access to entirely new audience segments that are similar to your current followers. So you kind of pick the groups that you want to target in Feathr, and you are able to serve them ads. So just a couple of examples here. I wanted to show you this one. It's very simple, but I think it's a great example of how specific you can get in your targeting. So this is from United Way of Asheville and Buncombe County. They were running an end of year book drive. And so they wanted people to donate books to this campaign. And they did an affinity targeting campaign to what they called book nerds. And so basically anyone with a purchase history with Barnes and Noble, they were able to pull that group and then serve ads to them that looked like this. So very specific, and it was a very impactful campaign because they were able to really, say, hey, like people who have made a purchase at Barnes and Noble in whatever time window they set are likely to have books, be book nerds, want to donate some books. So better than just, casting a wide net and hoping for the best. And then this Columbus Museum of Art, again, this is a great example. So they were running this event called Women in Art, a Century Apart, and they wanted to get on the radar of as many people as possible who might be good prospects for this event. And so they targeted a few different lists. So people who were in market, so that means they had some kind of purchase history related to museums, art galleries, or gardens. So people who had probably, attended an event like this or purchased a ticket for something like this in the past. People who were interested in arts and culture, social media influencers, that's kind of a cool one. So they targeted this group. And then people who had purchased cultural events tickets. So yeah, kind of really getting on the radar of anyone who might be sort of a fit for an event like this. And you can easily pull these groups in Feathr. You just type in keywords, you have options to pull from, and then you can select those groups, serve ads to them. All right, taking paid social beyond just boosted posts. And so boosting posts can be a great way to get started with organic social, just putting a little bit more money behind posts to, get them in front of more eyes. This is an example from Grace Marketplace. So I think at this time, they had around 5,000 followers on Facebook, but they were only getting about 360 impressions with their organic posts. And so they wanted to put a little bit of money behind that and get, some more visibility. And so they did just a $50 boost for some of their posts, and they were able to see this big jump in impressions. So they were closer to 1,000, 2,000 impressions with just a small, investment behind that. So just putting a little bit of money behind your organic post can be a great way to get the word out. But some other things you can do with paid social include retargeting people on social media. And so the food bank for Central and Northeast Missouri did this. They did a meta retargeting campaign in Feather. So this means you're leveraging, digital advertising to actually run retargeting on Facebook. So people who've visited the food bank's website, right? Maybe their homepage or their donate page, an event page, anything like that, and then left without converting, they'll then see these types of retargeting ads on Facebook and Instagram. So, this food bank is running ads that look like this all over the web. So people who visit the website and then leave, they're seeing these ads all over, but they'll also see them on Facebook and Instagram. So it's really about just reaching people where they're spending the most time, and people spend a lot of time on social media. So you don't want to miss out on that platform. Especially when you have great looking ads like this, you want to put them, wherever you can and put them where people are going to be most likely to see them. And then another quick example here. So you can also run, so we talked about CRM retargeting or email mapping before. You can do this on Meta as well using Feather. And so you're reaching people whose email address you have, but you're not sending emails, you're serving them ads, and you're serving them ads on their social feeds in this case. So this is American Friends of the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra, so AFIPO. They're another great Feather user. They targeted a specific list of members with ads about this gala. And so they were using, those email lists that they already have to serve ads to people on Facebook and Instagram. So the ads look like this. And then Feather lets you, Feather lets you run these types of social media campaigns. And then you can also track the reach, views, clicks, and conversions in Feather alongside all of your other campaigns. And so this kind of helps you track more easily what you're spending, how many people converted, what channels are really working for you. So, for example, if this organization wanted to see, hey, how many people actually registered for this gala from the CRM retargeting campaigns that we did in Meta, you can see that. And so in this case, the number is 39, which is significant. I think it's fair to say that like this campaign worked, and you pulled in quite a few attendees. So it's great to be able to kind of see the actual conversion numbers from social media. I know a lot of nonprofits struggle with sort of running social media campaigns in different places and trying to make sense of the data and the metrics there. And so having all of your data sort of in the same language helps. And so when you run these email mapping and retargeting campaigns, the meta campaigns in Feather, it helps you see everything in one place and in one language. Okay, let's talk about the Google Ad Grant. I think this is a really important one that a lot of nonprofits are sleeping on or just find daunting and don't know where to start. So Google Ads, as many of you know, but just as a quick refresher, so this is the sort of text-based paid search results that show up at the top of the Google search page when you search for something, okay? And so this, is an organic search result here, and obviously investing in an SEO strategy gets you as close to the top of organic search results as possible, which is also something that you want to focus on. SEO is a bit of a longer game. It requires a lot of strategy, but paid search, so Google Ads is a great way to kind of, bid for that front and center spot. Google Ad Grant is something that I'm sure a lot of you use. Drop a yes in the chat if you're using Google Ad Grant, and drop a meh if you're either not using it or you're struggling with it. So what is the Google Ad Grant? This is a grant that Google offers to qualifying nonprofits. It basically offering you up to $10,000 per month that you can use for your nonprofit's ads. And so it helps you spread your mission to a larger audience for free. So this is free money every month. And it's basically Google helping level the playing fields for nonprofits, attempting to sort of unlock the power of its search engine to as many meaningful organizations as possible. So it's a really, really great opportunity. But I know that it can be hard to know where to get started. So I'm seeing lots of mess in here. Amanda, I see your hands. I hope that means it's working really well for you. But yeah, so this is something that I think can be hard to get started with, but it is totally doable. Also, drop another yes in the chat if you would like us to do a webinar specifically about Google Ad Grant. I know I'm not going to get into a ton of details on strategy here, but I definitely want to know if people would attend an event or a webinar about that. Okay, we have a few internal people at Feathr who are very knowledgeable about this, as well as some partners. So I think I'm going to try to put together a webinar talking specifically about what you can do tactically to really make this work for you. Because some of the challenges are, like staying or maintaining the monthly spend requirement, maintaining the performance metrics. And so again, it's doable. I know people who have done it, but it is challenging. So, okay, cool. We will put that together soon. So some quick benefits of Google Ad Grant helps expand your awareness or awareness of your services to more people in, search-based results. You're reaching potential donors, volunteers, employees, things like that. It's a great way to complement, other channels. And we'll get in a minute, we'll get into another search-based campaign type. And so these really complement each other. It can provide you with really great insights on your audience. So seeing what keywords and search terms are resonating, which ones aren't, and then you can sort of modify your approach based on what is actually working, what people are clicking on. And that can actually inform your ad strategy too. A lot of the time you're trying to think of ad copy, CTA copy that works. And so the words that work in the terms that people are searching for might be the terms that they click on an ad. So a lot of this can kind of be helpful for just getting insight and data on what words resonate with your audience. And then obviously a lot of nonprofits are using the Google Ad Grant. And so sort of using it in order to stay competitive with them alongside all of the other for-profit businesses is key. So is your nonprofit eligible? There's a few different requirements here. Again, we'll be sending this deck out so you can look at these slides and just kind of go through, click on these links and see if you're not signed up yet. You can click and see if you're eligible and all of these things. But you have to be registered as a 501c3 nonprofit in one of the countries listed on this list. Again, it's hyperlinked. Can't be a government agency, a healthcare organization, or an academic institution or school. Your website needs to be hosted on its own unique domain. So it should be foodbank.org or, torontohumanesociety.org or something like that. You don't want to have like Squarespace or one of those domain names in your URL. So most of you probably have your own unique domain, so that should be fine. And then you have to agree to some, terms of service. So lots of like reading material there, but again, everything's linked so you can check that out. And then I wanted to also mention, so you can run your Google Ad Grant in Feathr. It kind of helps simplify your marketing workflow by running it right within Feathr alongside your other campaigns. You can see more accurate reporting. And I think like one of the main benefits is just that you're seeing it all the time next to the other stuff you're doing. So Jeff Marsh, who is a Feathr user from Free Store Food Bank, which is a great organization. I spoke with him the other day because they actually use the Google Ad Grant feature in Feathr. And he said this, which I thought was worth sharing. So if you're already in Feathr, pulling reports and setting up emails and doing everything else on your marketing side, it's nice to be able to just go and check on the Google Ad Grant there without having to go into Google. It used to be a once a month kind of thing, and now I see it on a regular basis. So he said he just feels like he has a lot more control. He's seeing it more regularly, can kind of iterate and make modifications as he goes. And it's not this whole other sort of task that he has to check off. So it's right there, front and center. Easy to sort of keep eyes on. And then another slide just with some tips for getting started. So, looking into the eligibility requirements and steps for getting started here, I linked that. And then I also linked this help doc from Google with some tips for getting started with a grant, how to be successful. Again, I will plan to have a webinar in the coming weeks about some of this with hopefully some real life examples and insight, but definitely check this out for some practical tips, especially if you are one of the organizations that's already using it but struggling. Definitely read that article and see if there's anything helpful in there. Okay, so let's talk about that other paid search campaign type that I mentioned. So search retargeting is what it's called. In Feathr, we call it keyword search targeting. So you might recognize it as that if you're a Feathr user. But this lets you target people based on keywords that they've searched, but you're serving them ads, display ads across the web. So unlike Google Ads, right, which we just saw, which is the text-based search results ad at the top of the search results page, this means that anyone who has searched for a term that your organization deems relevant, they will then, after they have searched for it, they'll see ads for your organization across different websites. So just like with geofencing, just like with affinity targeting, where you're showing them those display ads wherever they are on social, on the Food Network, on CNN.com, whatever, that's how this works too. So they search for something that you're bidding for. So cancer research, where to donate. If that's your keyword phrase, then they will see ads like this wherever they are online. This can be a great thing to supplement with Google Ads or vice versa. So if you're already doing Google Ads and you want to add in something else, so you're not only showing up while people are searching, but afterwards, this can be a great thing to do. And a lot of the time you're bidding for similar keywords with both campaign types. Like once you've identified what keywords and keyword phrases really work and resonate with your audience, you can use a lot of those for Google Ads and for search retargeting. So kind of a twofer, if you will. So a quick example of a keyword search campaign from Palmetto Community Care. So they were running these ads to basically promote their healthcare services in the community. And so they wanted to serve these ads to people who had searched for relevant terms. And so these are just a few examples of the keyword categories that they targeted. So affirming medical care, home testing, PrEP, clinics near me. So people who had searched these along with other, words on the list that they uploaded, then saw ads like this on Facebook, Instagram, the websites they were browsing online. And if someone clicks through to this, learns more about the services, maybe they sign up for something, maybe they don't, and then they can be retargeted after that. And then, okay, two more tips. Okay, so tracking print and digital advertising in the same platform. So I think this is a really important point. A lot of you are probably running some direct mail campaigns, some print campaigns. Nothing wrong with that if that's working for you. We do encourage, moving as much budget as you're willing to away from direct mail toward digital, just because I do think that that is more impactful, easier to track the impact of. You can get more bang for your buck with digital. But direct mail is definitely can be impactful if it works for you. So one thing that is a struggle, I think, sometimes is being able to actually measure the impact of direct mail. Or for example, if you're running campaigns directly in social media platforms and not in your marketing platform, you might have sort of disparate data and not really be sure how to see, okay, how are my Facebook campaigns performing compared with my digital advertising campaigns here? And so one way that you can kind of solve this problem is through what we call tracked link campaigns. And so you can measure the impact of all of your marketing campaigns right within Feathr using a UTM code that you can attach to any URL. So, if you are promoting an event, you can attach a UTM code to your event registration page and then track where people are coming from. So you can also use QR codes for this. So if you're, sending out postcards or direct mail or you have flyers around town, you can use QR codes that if people scan those, then you can see where they came from to really see what's working. You can even bring in data from dating apps too. So whatever you happen to be doing, wherever you're promoting your services or your events or asking for donations, you can track all of that in one place using tracked link campaigns, which also just leads to more cohesive reporting. And if you want to, share your reporting more easily with board members or your ED or whatever, you can pull everything in one report and see sort of side by side how things are comparing. And then let's see, yeah. And then Palmetto Community Care also did one of these tracked link campaigns. They were running fundraising. So like I said earlier, they do this annual fundraising event called Charleston Beer Fest, and they were promoting that via print ads, social media, dating apps, all of these different places. They had a few media company placements as well, and they were able to bring all of the conversion data back into Feathr using those unique tracking links. And they could see, which campaigns and which channels performed the best. And this is helpful just for, okay, like next year when we're running this campaign, where do we want to put budget? Last year we saw that, running these promo campaigns on Facebook and on this dating app and through this one particular media partner worked really well. Let's put money in there again. It wasn't actually that effective to send these postcards. Let's put less budget behind that. So this can be a great way to really sort of see what's working and what's not across everything, including print. And then diversifying your revenue streams with sponsored retargeting. So this is something that I wanted to talk about, particularly in the context of all of the uncertainty with federal funding. So I think a lot of nonprofits are finding themselves, in a time where you might not be sure what to do next, or you might have even some canceled events or like budget cuts around events, sort of similar to 2020. Maybe you're dealing with other revenue streams getting cut, large grants, large amounts of government funding getting cut. And so one way to diversify your revenue stream or to open up a new revenue stream is by selling sponsored retargeting packages. And so this basically means that you are charging your sponsors who want access to your unique audience, you are charging them to get access to your web visitors wherever they are online. And so you're basically going to be serving retargeting ads to your web visitors, but the ads are your sponsors' ads. So can be a great alternative to in-person sponsorships too. So if you are dealing with event issues or event budget cuts, this can be a great replacement for that. But this is also something that your sponsors and partners will benefit from year round. And so it can be a really good opportunity to kind of bring in some additional revenue, build some resiliency this year, and just allow sponsors that year-round access to your audience wherever they are browsing online, whether your event is top of mind or not. And then, shareable dashboards make it easy for sponsors themselves to actually track their digital sponsorships so they can kind of see the start and end dates, like what package they bought, how many impressions and clicks their ads are getting. So, yeah, this can be a really powerful way to put your sponsors in front of your audience, which is their goal, right? That's why they're putting money behind their sponsorships, is because they want to get their ads and their product or whatever it is in front of your people. And so you can do that for them and you can charge them to retarget your audience with their ads. So the Pediatric Academic Societies past did this using Feathr. And so I think this is just a great example. They were able to, so in this specific context, they had an event that was canceled. They were able to sell 4 sponsor packages to people who wanted to sponsor the event, but then couldn't. And they earned a 629% ROI from selling these packages. So that was great. And Kelly from Past said, once our sponsors understood what a successful campaign looked like, they realized their ads were doing really well. Every one of our sponsor campaigns has performed above the industry standard for advertising. And then here on the right, you can kind of see an example of a graphic that Pass used to teach sponsors about retargeting and sort of show them how they could reach Pass's audience wherever those people are online. And so we definitely recommend for this sort of putting together like a pitch like this to make it easy for partners and sponsors to understand the concept of retargeting and the benefits of reaching your audience through retargeting, through sponsored retargeting. And then you can work out whatever pricing makes sense and keep them in the loop on how their campaigns are performing with the dashboards. But it just comes down to the fact that the nature of sponsorships is that sponsors want to get in front of your audience. And so showing their ads to your audience members as they browse the web is a great way to offer this to them without sort of the limitations that come with some more traditional sponsorship types like website banners or email blasts, which also can be great, but this has a little bit more of a limitless aspect to it. Okay, and then I know we already did our 9 tips, but I had just a bonus tip for you because I really like this one and I think it's a helpful kind of quick tip. So letting ads help inform your overall messaging and positioning. So once again, we have the YMCA of Metro Fort Worth. They were promoting an after-school care program and they were A/B testing ad copy, and they determined that they were actually able to A/B test a couple of different terms that they thought might work, and they determined that after-school care was the term that they wanted to really target people with. They tried childcare and they ended up pulling in an audience with people whose kids were much younger. So they were actually looking for more like daycare, childcare age services. And so they realized, okay, actually after school care is what we're trying to promote. We're promoting, services for kids that are of school age. And so they were able to kind of determine that this phrase was what worked and this didn't, but they tried both in their ads and they were seeing sort of who they were pulling in based on the search or based on the terms, and then they went with this. But A/B testing can be a really powerful tool. It's easy to do, and A/B testing ad copy, email subject lines, things like that can really give you a lot of insight on what your audience actually responds to, which at the end of the day is the most important thing and should be the main factor informing, what copy you're choosing, what words you're choosing, your CTA language, things like that, because your audience decides if they want to click and if they want to convert. So you want to make sure you're listening to the information that they're giving you and actually looking at the data from campaigns like this. So A/B testing is a great way to do this. And yeah, so I wanted to share that example.